Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of In the Grass Podcast. We're your host. I'm Steven. This is my brother Mikey.
What's up?
Today we've got a good one for you. We're going to be breaking down the NFC North. We got the Green Bay Packers, Detroit Lions, Chicago Bears, Minnesota Vikings. So, a lot to talk about. There's a lot of history in this division. It's got to be probably one of the oldest divisions. I think they started as the NFC Central all the way back with the merger. The Bears and the Packers have played each other 200 times. That's the biggest rivalry in the NFL for sure. 200 meetings. The first meeting was almost 100 years ago, 1921. So it'll be exciting this year. Once again, we're being optimistic that there's going to be a 2020 NFL season. So
hope so.
Hopefully we'll get that 201st, 202nd meeting between these two teams. This division, just piling on with the history, we got coaches like Vince Lombardi, Mike Ditka, players like Barry Sanders and Brett Favre. So without further ado, first things first, let's tell everybody how you can reach us. If you've got something to say to us, you can tweet at us on Twitter at InTheGrassPod, or email us, shoot us an email directly. The email address is inthegrasspod@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. If you got a comment you want to make on an episode, or a topic that you want to bring up for next time, if you want to be a guest on the show, if you want to let us know where we messed up, we're we're one of those podcasts. We're known for throwing out stats that probably aren't as accurate as everybody's, but we have fun while we're doing it.
Yeah. We don't know that much, but
yeah, we try to fake it till we make it. I'll be honest, I don't really take in too much ESPN or sports podcasts. This is all pretty raw, unfiltered stuff. I do love watching football for sure. I love talking about it, absolutely. Let's start with the Chicago Bears. So, like we said, one of the storied franchises of the NFL. They've played the Green Bay Packers 200 times already. They've been around forever. I think they were for sure one of the original NFL teams. They might not have been called the Chicago Bears back then, but they've been the Chicago Bears for a very, very long time. A lot of history in that stadium where they play, Soldier Field. First thoughts about the Bears?
Oh, they fucking suck.
You can tell by this guy's t-shirt that not the biggest Bears fan in the room.
It's always a good game when Packers and Bears play, so I've watched a lot of Bears games. But yeah, they fucking suck.
Yeah, have you watched all 200 Packers Bears?
No, not quite yet.
No? Okay. 2018, man, they had Mitch Trubisky. What was he, second overall draft pick?
Yeah.
A guy I'd never heard of.
Just missed Mahomes.
Barely, almost. They could have had him.
Well, they probably would have been $500 million.
Yeah. Oh man.
Debt, so.
What a contract. Good for Mahomes, man. Good for anybody that can cash a check.
We probably should have started with Mahomes.
Right. A check that big. He's got to have to work for it to get the whole $500 million. But you should have to work for $500 million.
Yeah. I mean, only 3 years in the league, MVP, and then the Super Bowl ring.
He's earned it.
Yeah.
2018 with Mitch Trubisky, the Bears went 12-4, and folks thought, "Oh snap! Here we go. The Trubisky era has started." But then 2019 hit you. Get that snowman.
Well, that
8-8.
2018, it was mostly defense.
True.
They had a fucking stout ass defense.
Yeah, they did bring the heat. That's kind of what the Bears are known for, historically. That 85 Bears defense won the Super Bowl. They started the season like 15-0.
Yeah.
I mean, they go back a long time. Like we said, this team has been around forever. They know how to play football. So 2020 is actually going to be the Bears' 101st season. So they've been around. Who were they playing 101 years ago? So getting right down into the nitty gritty, the Chicago Bears 2020 season, they got Anthony Miller. He's was second overall pick in 2018.
Really?
Yeah, or second round pick, not second overall.
Yeah.
Second round pick out of Memphis. Had off-season shoulder surgery.
Yeah.
So
that was this year.
Yep. So in this,
because I think he broke his leg his rookie year or some shit like that.
He's another one of those guys. But man, this dude Anthony Miller, all he needs is the chance.
Yeah,
you show him the field, he's gonna for a team that needs a number 2 reliable wide receiver. Shoot, they might even need a number 1 wide receiver.
Allen Robinson holds his own, you know.
Yeah, and so something to complement what Robinson can do, because Robinson, what he's going to do is stretch the field, open things up. He's going to show you passing lanes, make it easy for the quarterback. You also need a guy like Anthony Miller who can come in there, maybe if they're showing a double team to the number 1, get Anthony Miller in there, get him open in some space, let him make a move, make a guy miss, and who knows what he can do. It's things like that shoulder surgery, which was his second shoulder surgery, and this dude's 199 pounds. They didn't mark him as 200, so that's still, they say 199. He's probably 189.
So he's probably not even going to start the year if it happens.
I don't know. They're being hopeful. This guy is listed on the depth chart like he's going to be there. It's kind of iffy right now because nobody is in camp. Usually around this time you start shaking things out, filling in your spots. But when things do get moving, be on the lookout. A guy like Anthony Miller, who at Memphis, his final season at Memphis, scored 18 touchdowns in the final season there. So you give him the chance, he can make things happen. Allen Robinson, we already touched on it. Might not need to go too in depth right there.
Yeah, he's a top 10 receiver in the league, I think.
He's got hands.
Yeah, his like route running is. That's what does it.
Yeah.
But, if Anthony Miller's their number 2, I know they let go Taylor Gabriel.
They did, yes.
So were they like splitting out Tariq Cohen?
They'll do that with the running back for sure. They're not shy about putting a running back in a slot, splitting them wide. Anything like that. Allen Robinson. The dude has done it with, look at his quarterbacks. Mitch Trubisky, he was with Blake Bortles, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't need a fancy name. He needs the ball in his hands.
Right.
So he's a baller type of guy. The next pass catcher is also a baller, Jimmy Graham.
Oh yeah, they gave him a pretty healthy contract, huh?
Yeah, and which is kind of crazy because when I was looking at the depth chart and kind of reading a few articles about the Chicago Bears and just seeing like what all they were doing, they drafted Cole Kmet out of Notre Dame, and he's a big physical guy too. Notre Dame is known for putting tight ends like that out. So they got Cole Kmet. I would figure he would probably be the tight end there. The number one de facto. And Jimmy Graham, you might want to say he's 1A, 1B.
Just throw him like red zone.
Red zone, special packages, third downs, whatever. You need a short yardage thing. You need an extra blocker, whatever. You got Jimmy Graham in there. He can decoy.
Yeah.
Jimmy Graham, former basketball player. We talked about it in one of our prior podcasts that, the NFL is moving towards the non-college football tight ends. And look at the Seattle Seahawks. They've got non-college football offensive linemen, which, it kind of shows itself a little bit there.
Yeah.
But Jimmy Graham, Cole Kmet, I didn't even go farther down on the list because I saw those two guys there and I was like, oh, dang.
Yeah, they got about 17 more tight ends. That we have no idea who they are.
Right. They probably have 17 other quarterbacks there that we don't know, but we do know
That's true.
2 quarterbacks there. You want to talk a little bit about Trubisky, Nick Foles, what they're competing for here?
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be fighting for the starting job, but it kind of seems like they're leaning towards Nick Foles because they didn't. Trubisky had the 5th-year option. They declined it. They signed Nick Foles, and they brought in his old offensive coordinator.
Yeah, the way things are shaking out when you start saying stuff like that, man.
And I think the quarterback coach, too.
And I think we brought up Nick Foles when we broke down the Jacksonville Jaguars and Gardner Minshew. And I kind of said that Nick Foles doesn't really compete. He
just wins Super Bowls.
Yeah, he'll win a Super Bowl if he's the guy there. But you got a number one quarterback in front of him. It's going to take, that dude either losing his job to injury or performance or whatever for Nick Foles to get a chance. He doesn't really... Competition really isn't his thing. He's more of a only guy left, last man standing kind of thing. And man, when he's in those positions, dude lets the thing fly. His first season when he was in Philadelphia, I think he set the record for touchdown passes to interception ratio. It was like 28 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Yeah, he didn't play all the games, but he played a lot of games, and he played a lot of good teams. He give him the shot, and he's good to go. But it's when he has to go into the locker room and he's not the number one quarterback and try to win people over. I don't know what it is, but I've never met the guy personally, never tried to coach him or anything, but something just tells me that even with all the help that they're giving him, bringing in his offensive coordinator and Mitchell Trubisky, his hype and stock is plummeting at this point.
Yeah, who knows if he'll have a job next year?
Right, crazy that he was drafted so high and so recently.
Yeah, we see that a lot in the NFL though. First round quarterbacks not being able to do anything.
Not just quarterbacks, first round.
That's true.
We've got other guys that on these other NFC North teams that we're going to get to, and sometimes you're drafted really high and what for whatever reason, personal, professional, if you get the injury bug or whatever happens, life happens, things happen, and it doesn't always shake out like you hope it would. Nick Foles, Mitchell Trubisky, we'll see once camp starts, and they've shortened the preseason this year. I think it's only going to be 2 games if they get any preseason in at all. So
that's good though.
Hopefully they'll get Foles, Trubisky to compete with each other, and
it's gonna be a battle.
Maybe their competition level will rise, and both of them can kind of shine. And regardless of who's going to be the quarterback, we ticked off Jimmy Graham, Cole Kmet, Allen Robinson, Anthony Miller. Whoever's the quarterback's going to have a good time there.
What's that HBO show?
Hard Knocks.
They should have put the Bears on fucking Hard Knocks just so we could watch the fucking quarterback competition.
Yeah, and that's another thing that the whole situation with the starting of the season. Is it going to be on time? Are they going to be able to get a season of Hard Knocks in?
They said they would.
Well, that's good. We should have looked up who's going to be on Hard Knocks. I've seen it, but I forget who it is. Maybe it is the Bears. That would be pretty cool.
Look it up real quick.
Going from offense with the Bears to the defense, the defensive end Robert Quinn comes over from the Cowboys. This dude, 11.5 sacks last season. We'll see what he can do there in Chicago. They've got another defensive end over there, and he'll be complimenting Robert Quinn, which will be good. So you get guys on either side, apply that pressure. The NFL is one of those games where you want to pressure the other team's quarterback, and you want to protect your own quarterback from that pressure from the other team. So
you have a good defensive line where you can have a guy coming off the edge, man. It's hard, especially if the other team's offensive line is horrible.
Right. Yeah.
Like, you're going to dominate the game like that.
Yeah, so Robert Quinn, Khalil Mack, look out. If you're playing the Chicago Bears, you better get you guys protecting that quarterback because they're going to be coming for him. Speaking of getting to the quarterback, Danny Trevathan, he's still there. They actually re-signed Trevathan, who is 30 years old this year. And that's one of the reasons that they wanted to get him the contract now, because he's at the precipice.
Yeah. I didn't know he was that old.
He's a linebacker. He's got the leadership qualities that they're looking for with the Bears. They want him to be that presence. He's got this defense around him. Robert Quinn, Khalil Mack, all the other guys. They want Trevathan, who's been there and seen things already with the Chicago Bears, kind of breed a culture. Is what they want to do. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the reasons that they're keeping Trevathan around.
Yeah, they want to get back to that 2018 defensive form,
Exactly. And maybe part of that getting back to form, excuse me, The Bears got Barkevious Mingo, former 6th overall pick in 2013. This is his 6th team. He's out of LSU.
Oh, wow.
So this dude, one of the best names in sports, Barkevious Mingo. I remember hearing that name get called over the loudspeaker when I was listening to the 2013 draft. That was a pretty early one. Everybody was expecting Johnny Manziel to go pretty quick, but man, Barkevious Mingo gets his number called. And then for whatever reason, it didn't work out. Didn't work out in Cleveland. Didn't work out for the other 4 teams that he played for, apparently. But now he's showing up. He's going to be in Chicago, and he's going to be there with Trevathan, Robert Quinn, Khalil Mack. They got a defense, it's sounding like. So, like you said, trying to get back to 2018.
Yeah, they're still going to get smashed at least 2 times a year.
At least.
But I looked it up. It was the Rams and the Chargers on Hard Knocks. So doing 2 teams.
Oh, okay. Cool. So yes, because they're sharing a facility there in Los Angeles. So HBO's Hard Knocks is going to feature 2 teams. So hey, whenever we get it, I'll be patiently waiting, and then I'll be there every week watching Hard Knocks, just like I always do.
That's always fun.
Is there anything else we need to say about the Chicago Bears?
Probably not.
So moving on, another historic franchise, the Detroit Lions.
Definitely historic.
You wanna go ahead and lead off with that stat?
Yeah, 1 fucking playoff win in 59 years.
1 playoff win in 59 years.
And it was in 1991 against the Cowboys. I thought that was pretty crazy.
They last won their division title in 1993, which was 27 years ago. And I don't know if you guys are like me, I'm a huge Stephen King fan. It is my favorite book of all time. I like the movies too, the old miniseries, and then the new It movies that have come out, Chapter 1, Chapter 2. Pennywise the Clown, man, he comes back every 27 years. So is the Detroit Lions division title drought, is it going to be like Pennywise the Clown? Is it going to come back after being away for 27 years?
Man, it seems like I don't even know what they need to do to get out of it. It seems like they got their quarterback. They've had their quarterback for a while.
They got the quarterback. They threw as much money as they could at their quarterback.
They've always got a bunch of skill players. They got Kenny Galladay.
They're always drafting really high,
Yeah, so they got good players. I don't know if it was the coaching or if it's like just bad luck or just like it's,
right.
It's in their head.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, they had one of like top 5 greatest players in the history of the game in the early 90s. That's probably why they got that only playoff win back in 91. Barry Sanders was, me personally, I'm an Emmitt Smith guy. The godfather of the running game. Emmitt Smith, most yardage of all time. But man, sometimes when NFL Network is showing those old replays or that Football Life, the Barry Sanders one, man, just watching that dude move, he's got some sick moves, making everybody miss. Shifty, he was quick, he was fast, he was speedy, he was all the adjectives. He was pretty much everything.
And what did he play, 10 years?
Yeah, he was one of those guys that, he got in, he did his thing, he got out. And can't really blame him.
Played for the Lions.
Calvin Johnson did the same thing, and Calvin Johnson probably made the smartest a move. You see a lot of these guys stay in maybe too long, and either their health, their injuries add up, or they just get sick of doing the same thing over and over. I don't know what it is, but yeah, if you get a guy like Sanders, like Calvin Johnson, that doesn't let the game tell him when it's time. They make the decision on their own. Hey, it's time to go ahead and hang this up. You got to respect that. Before we start talking about the current roster, some news of note is that the Lions have changed ownership recently. So Martha Firestone Ford, man, how much money is in that family with the Firestone and the Ford there. Martha Firestone Ford, she steps down. She was like 94 years old or something. If she was not 94 years old, I'm so sorry, Miss Firestone Ford. Sheila Ford Hamp steps up. So they're passing the baton there. Whenever a team changes ownership, I always think of the movie Major League. with Charlie Sheen.
Yeah.
And how the owner takes over, inherits the team, and she decides, you know what, I hate where this team is. I want to move them down to Miami. Now, Detroit, probably not the loveliest place on earth or to live, for whatever reasons. But there's already a team in Miami, so I don't think we probably won't have the same situation here. They're probably going to stay there in Detroit, most definitely.
Probably.
I just wanted to bring that up. Thought that was kind of cool that that's happening. Moving right in, the Detroit Lions, they got no Barry Sanders this year, unfortunately, but they do have a couple of running backs. They're very aptly named. So they got Kerryon Johnson, like he's carrying the ball, and DeAndre Swift.
Yeah.
So how perfect is that? Swift is a second-round pick this year. This draft, he'll be a rookie out of Georgia. Perfect name. I love it. What do you think?
Yeah, who knows, man? Kerryon Johnson, he started off pretty good. I think he got hurt again last year. And then that's probably why they drafted Swift so high. It's because they needed somebody that they thought could jump in there.
Right. For the last few years, it seems like, and this is just my take coming from a purely fantasy perspective because I don't really focus too much on the Lions, but what I can take is the last couple of years, it's been like a revolving door. At the running back position, they try to draft players high like Amir Abdullah. Don't think that worked out.
Yeah. I think what was his rookie year, had the first game of the season, went the fuck off, and then
he was busting them off like he was still playing college ball.
Injured like the second game.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a short honeymoon. So they got Kerryon Johnson, DeAndre Swift. This other guy's got a cool name too, but it doesn't really have to do with going fast. Bo Scarborough.
Yeah,
so big guy out of Alabama. He's been around the block. Hasn't really seen the playing field too much, so not really sure if this is going to be his year. But you know what? Man, with injuries, literally anything can happen. And the Detroit Lions know that because I can't even tell you who was playing quarterback for him last year.
Yeah, I don't even fucking know. I think, what was his name? Blow or Blau or something?
Oh, yeah, that was, Blau.
Some shit like that.
Yeah, so Stafford was injured week 9 but finished that game. And Blau, I don't know if he started the very next game or maybe the game after that or all of them, I don't know.
I think I picked him up in fantasy.
Yeah, it was one of those cute little things, see him there. If you were playing daily fantasy, you probably, scoop him up, probably cheapest active quarterback. Got some targets. Galladay.
Yeah.
I love Galladay in fantasy for sure.
Yeah. He's a top, 10, maybe 15 receiver.
Yeah. He's got those games where might only haul in 2 or 3 passes, but he hauls in 2 or 3 passes for 75 yards and a touchdown or 2.
Yeah, and the other guy, Marvin Jones, he's on the other side, and that's a pretty good one too.
Yeah, you can't ask for much more than that. Marvin Jones Jr., Kenny Galladay. If Matt Stafford can hold it together, get an entire season, it's going to be, being completely frank, it's going to be tough this year because we already talked about the Bears defense and how they're, focusing on that and, trying to make it tough for the opposing quarterback. And a guy like Stafford, I think it was his back, fractured backbones, which sounds terrible. Yeah. Sounds like, man, fractured backbones. How do you even, fix that? Are the bones just floating around in there?
And there's lots of surgeries and shit.
Yeah,
probably.
I'm sure.
A couple rods or something.
Yeah.
And they got Chase Daniel is their backup. So
Chase Daniel. Okay.
And then then they got Blau.
Yeah. Always liked Chase Daniel. Pretty sure he went to South Lake Carroll High School. If you didn't, leave us a comment here on YouTube or tweet at us or send us an email.
We'll
inthegrasspod@gmail.com. Like we said, the other defenses in this division are beefing it up, trying to make it miserable for the opposing quarterback. Mainly because Aaron Rodgers is one of those opposing quarterbacks. But the Lions, they're also doing that same thing. Key addition, Jamie Collins from New England.
Linebacker
from New England. Definitely had a hand in winning a few Super Bowls. He's a Belichick guy. Belichick really liked this guy. You could tell. He was the linebacker that was, moving the defense around, making the adjustments. So he's bringing that to the table. You can probably imagine a head coach like Matt Patricia. It's just a branch off the Belichick tree. He loves Jamie Collins coming from over there because it's like bringing a little piece of home into your new digs, and I'm sure he's gonna fit right in. Probably help the head coach kind of get this defense to rally around where he wants to take the team.
Yeah.
Edge rusher Julian Okwara, 3rd round pick. Lions had the worst pass rush statistically in the entire league last year. So
yeah, that's surprising.
Is a 3rd round pick what it's going to take? I mean, better than nothing, I guess.
Yeah.
Anything's an improvement over worst pass rush from last year.
And who was there? They had a safety they let go last year.
Darius Slay.
Or cornerback, whatever.
Yeah, no longer there. I think he's in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
So, you're questioning, are these the moves that, you got your direction that you want to take your team. How is cutting Darius Slay going to get you there? Now, I did hear that the deal with Slay was that he had a conflict with the head coach, Matt Patricia. So, as a head coach, you want to nip that in the bud for sure.
Yeah.
Because you got, one of your highest paid defensive players on the team. If he's, counterintuitive to what you're trying to do,
kind of ruins the whole thing, man. Exactly.
Yep. I don't know if I have any more on the Detroit Lions. You got anything?
T.J. Hawkinson is something I want to talk about.
Oh,
rookie tight end. He kind of
he
came onto the scene last year.
Yes, he did.
And fantasy advice, he might be one of those little sleeper tight ends to come pick up, middle rounds.
Watching our fantasy draft, he's going to be gone in the 2nd or 3rd round. We're going to be looking around for him, and he was long gone. That's who I was thinking. Exactly. I think he had him last year.
Yeah, he did. I think he drafted him pretty high.
Yeah, so, take that at your own risk. If you want to bank on In the Grass podcast for fantasy advice, that's up to you. We're here. We're giving you what we have. And
we got a couple championships combined, so
championships for sure.
Championship.
Minnesota Vikings. You got Dalvin Cook. His backup, Madison. He got some playing time last year because go figure, Dalvin Cook injured. Yeah. It was towards the end of the season. Folks like me who were enjoying the Dalvin Cook fantasy experience, we were loving it. Especially, I was able to somehow get McCaffrey in the 1st round and then back it up in the 2nd round with Dalvin Cook with the bang bang.
Yeah.
Didn't do me any help in the fantasy playoffs because all my guys were done by then. But it was fun while it lasted. So, and I missed the Madison pickup because I was just stacked on running backs, and then when everything happened at once, and I was Madison was long gone by then. Folks had already picked him up when he was just backing up. And so. Dalvin Cook, he's coming back. Apparently, he's good to go. I guess his injury wasn't really that bad anyways. He was kind of like, I guess I could, but I shouldn't.
Yeah.
And so we had to deal with that. Madison, he filled in, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking, this year, they're probably going in with the mindset like, it doesn't matter who's the running back. If we got Cook, good. But if you need to rely on your backup, you're lucky that you got a guy like Madison.
Yeah, and they're going to be... That's their whole game plan is run the ball, That's what the coach came out and said. That's why Thielen and Diggs both got pissed off because the coach was like, oh, no, we're just going to try to run the ball 40 times a game.
And when you got a guy like Dalvin Cook, I'm sure it's hard not to run the ball every play. But then you see he gets injured like that and you realize...
So they might back off a little bit,
Speaking of backing off, they told Xavier Rhodes and Stephon Diggs to go ahead and back off. So it's like... your number one
Get out of
offense,
town.
number one defense guy. They're getting out of here. Let's change the culture.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it starts with, and you already mentioned the quarterback. I call him Kid Cuzzy, Kirk Cousins. He's one of those guys where he just won't go away.
Yeah.
He's drafted in the same draft as Robert Griffin. They were on the same team for a little while. We saw how that shook out. I think Cousins got the franchise tag 3 years in a row or something. He's just been cashing check after check after check. He's got this current deal that he's on. I think he's making like $30 million a year, which is nuts for a guy like Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
He's got to count his lucky stars every single night.
Yeah, he reminds me of, he plays like Matthew Stafford,
Yeah.
Just like
Yeah.
chunking the ball.
Yeah. Well, Stafford's got kind of like a sidearm kind of thing going. But yeah, I know what you mean. He's, with, I'm sure that Cousins would love some of those 5,000-yard seasons. That's a key difference between the two. But yeah, they're probably on that same tier. If we could tier the quarterbacks, you got your Super Bowl winners, and then you got pretty much everybody else falls in the second, third, fourth tier.
Yeah.
I would say Stafford and Cousins are on probably the same tier. They got 15 draft picks this year for the Vikings.
Oh shit.
Which is the most draft picks anyone has ever had
Ever?
in a single draft ever. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And they drafted receiver the first round, right?
Justin Jefferson out of LSU.
Yeah, I was hoping.
Yeah.
Man, the Packers, man. I was hoping they'd get one of those big receivers, but
There were a lot of receivers out there. Justin Jefferson just being one of them. Man, if you caught only the national championship game last year, you got a show. If you watched any of the other LSU games, man, the dude was all over the field. He was catching everything.
I think at one game he had like 5 touchdowns.
Joe Burrow couldn't miss a pass to anybody, so it was kind of unfair playing wide receiver for them last year. But yeah, he's there. They drafted I don't know if Kid Cuzzy got to look over his shoulder because there's another quarterback in the house, Nate Stanley from Iowa, and this kid is not playing around. He's 6'4", 235 pounds.
Wow.
So maybe they might have to play him at tight end a little bit. Not saying anything about Kyle Rudolph the red zone reindeer. He's gonna be there, one of those red zone tight ends. I'm just kidding. Nate Stanley's probably not gonna get any reps at tight end, but I'm not sure who is going to be helping Rudolph at the position of tight end, but they could really use a guy that's 6'4" and 235 pounds like Nate Stanley out of Iowa. You were saying that with the running game taking a priority, and even Stephon Diggs leaving town, he's in Buffalo now. Adam Thielen, his stock is not rising.
Yeah, I mean, that's what people are saying, like in the fantasy world. Not too sure what they're going off of, but Stephon Diggs, I guess, leaving, kind of everybody's going to be on Thielen. But then they got Jefferson, but I think he's like a slot guy.
Yeah.
So they're not going to have another outside guy,
If anybody in my fantasy football league is listening to this podcast, Adam Thielen's stock is he's dropping. It's not going anywhere. He's not going to be worth it.
Everybody can sleep on him.
Yes. Take him, if he's there in the final round, you probably want to reach out and get him at that point.
Yeah.
But, I wouldn't say Adam Thielen is at the top of anybody's list. I'm just kidding. I would be all over Adam Thielen in a fantasy draft right now.
Yeah.
And I think Justin Jefferson being there in the slot, that's an improvement for Thielen. Stephon Diggs was a high maintenance kind of a guy. If he wasn't getting the ball in his hands, he had to let you know about it. He had something to say about it. You got a guy like Adam Thielen, and you mentioned he kind of had the same. He was feeling the same kind of way as Diggs last year because they did focus on the running game, but this is a new year.
Yeah,
new year, new me.
It was undrafted, right? I think so.
I'd have to go back and look, but it would not surprise me if
somebody
Adam Thielen
being
was
undrafted. They got that chip on their shoulder, and when they're not being able to perform at their highest level.
Yeah, Thielen might be one of those guys who's just been waiting for this chance. He's put on some spectacular seasons, especially in fantasy. in recent years, if you got either one, Diggs or Thielen, you're doing okay.
Mm-hmm.
Doing pretty good, because those guys, they don't drop too many passes. That's a stat right there. But yeah, Adam Thielen, he's going to be number one guy for the first time ever. So it's going to be a new challenge for him. We'll see if he's up to it. Like Mikey said, a lot of fantasy folks are dropping him down the board. And if I had any suggestions for folks in my fantasy league, I'd say, yeah, go ahead and drop him on down. Talking about... I did have another tight end besides Kyle Rudolph. It says Irv Smith. He's there. Second year out of Alabama. So this was a guy who, at Alabama, which Alabama's not really known for being a team that gets cute or fancy and, does things with the tight end that are innovative or whatever. Usually a tight end at Alabama is a big old guy who can block, move people, and then, yes, when his number is called, he's got to haul it in. This guy, Irv Smith, he comes from that Nick Saban background there at Alabama. This is his second year. They want to improve his workload.
Yeah, I mean, he's a big guy. Kyle Rudolph's only getting older.
Right, yep.
And they're going to want to block with their tight ends because they want to run the ball. But both of them can catch the ball.
Yeah, and we're seeing this a lot with, having your established tight end, red zone target, red zone threat, and then bringing in just a huge athletic tight end also. And that's, probably calculated move right there.
It wouldn't surprise me if he had like a basketball.
Yeah. Yeah, just going to say. Yeah, but Irv Smith, Kyle Rudolph, Adam Thielen, Jefferson, Dalvin Cook, Madison. This is going to be a great offense. Or, all these offense guys, on paper at least. Not a whole lot that I have written down here about their defense. I guess not a single...
Well, Rhodes is gone, so...
Right, Xavier Rhodes. I'm sure some of these 15 draft picks that they took in this draft, definitely, besides the Justin Jefferson and Nate Stanley, they probably all were defense other than that, which is obviously a point that you're going to have to improve on if you're the Vikings and you want to make some noise in this division. Because this division also has the very last team that we're talking about today, the Green Bay Packers. So I really didn't write too much down because I'm sure my brother has a lot to say. But I just want to start off with, obviously, Aaron Rodgers is there. Jordan Love is also there. And me, personally, I love Jordan Love. I don't know why. I've never seen the guy play.
Yeah, me neither.
But he did sign the contract, so he's one of the 2020 draftees that has already inked a deal. He is a Green Bay Packer, and he's got $5.5 million to show for it already, because that's what his signing bonus was.
Yeah, and it kind of reminds me of when the Patriots drafted Garoppolo.
Okay.
They thought, okay, let's just get our guy.
Yeah.
See what Tom Brady does. If he's falling off, then
if
we'll
anything happens, then we've got this guy.
Yeah.
Kind of worked out a little different there in their situation, which was they probably never even expected something like that to happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, that drafting a quarterback when you've already got your established quarterback always ruffles a few feathers.
Yeah, everybody's gonna talk about it.
Right, and that's exactly why we're talking about it. Here's something that I have jotted down: is Jordan Love going to be like a Taysom Hill kind of a guy? Could you see that?
Well, I've never seen the guy play, so I don't know how he plays, but I've heard he's like a decent thrower, doesn't really run much, but we'll see if they kind of use him like that, which Aaron Rodgers probably wouldn't be happy about it. He wants to be on the field.
Oh yeah, of course. That would be the main thing. Aaron Rodgers, having to leave the field for a snap, or when Taysom Hill goes back there and takes a snap, Drew Brees sometimes just lines up wide. I don't think he ever runs any routes, but he is technically still on the field, so maybe they could work something out. I'm actually intrigued by this idea, and I hope that this is one of those things that is not just a flash in the pan or a gimmick or even a fad. I hope teams start drafting quarterbacks earlier, and just to plug them in, even though if they've got an established quarterback, just to change the pace.
Yeah.
That's something that they did with running backs recently, is change the pace back.
Yeah, a lot
change
of people are doing that with
quarterback.
multiple running backs, and then you see like what the Eagles are doing. You know who they drafted in the first round.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah. They, top 20 draft pick they spent on a quarterback when they just drafted a quarterback second overall a couple years ago.
And I heard that they were going to try to do the Taysom Hill type thing.
Okay, and that makes sense. That makes sense.
So yeah, maybe teams are trying to, the game's evolving. You
yeah.
evolve with it.
It's exciting to see the game evolve in real time, though, and it's even cooler now that we have this podcast and YouTube channel, and we can actually get here talk about it. And I'm like getting goosebumps talking about more Taysom Hills in the league.
For football, baseball, all those sports will start back up.
Oh yeah,
it's gonna be fun.
Yep.
And fantasy, gotta love it.
Yeah. So Jordan Love, hopefully he can make some moves there. Maybe they get a first and goal. Maybe let him, take the first snap and see what he can do with it. You got a couple of plays to go off after that if he doesn't make it.
Yeah. And
you do have Aaron Rodgers there.
Yeah, I don't know how many years he's got left on his contract.
But, Aaron Rodgers has one of the biggest contracts in the league, so I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon. They'll have to pry that football out of his cold, dead hands.
Yeah, he's playing for another 7-8 years. And he said he wants to stay in Green Bay.
Right. We can only hope.
Yeah. I don't think he's ever going to get that, oh, you want to fucking cut me, I'm going to go play for Chicago like Brett Favre, or.
Yeah, and that was really surprising. The whole Brett Favre thing, the way it played out. I used to set my calendar to, whenever I heard Brett Favre contemplating retirement, I knew that the new football season was coming around. So that was pretty nice. Now I've got to wait for something else. I got to wait, to see the certain songbird singing outside. Then I'll know it's the right time of year. So yeah, Aaron Rodgers. Something I want to point out. Something I love about Aaron Rodgers is his freaking mustache. Love that thing. I'll be honest, I'm a sucker for facial hair, and especially in Movember when you're doing it for a good cause. I love to see that. I like the way he rocks that. Is it called a handlebar mustache? Yeah, I love it. Something I saw today trending on Twitter was the top 10 running back list. I think it was ESPN sent it out. I was riding in a truck with somebody, and their phone played the ESPN Sports Center jingle because they got a notification, and I was like, hey, what's going on? They said, oh, the top 10 running back list is out, and guess who was not on the list?
Oh shit,
Aaron Jones. Man,
I wonder why.
I'm a guy, like I said,
number 10?
I don't watch any football or ESPN or anything unless I'm watching the games usually. And I'll tell you right now, Aaron Jones is a top 10, maybe top 5.
Yeah, what do you have?
Running back,
20 touchdowns or some shit last year.
Yeah, I think he might have led the position, definitely in the receiving touchdowns for a running back.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think he was up there with the wide receivers too on the.
Yeah, he led the team in receptions for a while.
Yeah. So Aaron Jones, man. And he might have benefited from that friendly competition, if you can call it that, because he had Jamal Williams was there.
And they were drafted,
and they just drafted AJ Dillon this year. And
another weird pick, going in the draft, watching last year, we're like, okay, as a Packers fan, let's get some receivers.
Because we got this, we need that.
Yeah, we got everything. Just like, let's get a receiver.
In the draft, they went this.
Yeah, we got all this shit.
Yeah.
We got one with a quarterback and then the running back in the second round. I'm like, well, let's see how that plays out.
Oh, man, it was fun watching the draft with them.
Oh, my God.
Every time the Packers came up, they were not going wide receiver. And with that quarterback drafted the first pick, it was really, ooh. And every time a different LSU wide receiver got drafted, yeah, man, it was a tough draft for him.
The draft is very confusing to watch.
I had fun. So let's go ahead and talk about them. The wide receivers that are there, You got MVS, ESB, talking Valdez Scantling and St. Brown.
Mm-hmm.
But who are the guys you're going to be watching?
Well, Adams. He's got to be.
Of course.
My opinion. I don't know if I'm just biased or whatever, but number one receiver in the league. Pairing with the number one quarterback.
I mean, I'll definitely give him number one receiver on the team. For sure.
On the team. Yeah. And then everybody thought, MVS could take that next step, but seems like that dude Lazard might step in, have a number 2 role.
Yes. The Lazard.
The Lizard.
Yeah, I like that guy. Towards the end of last season, he had to step it up.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Yeah, Adams got the turf toe.
Everybody was going down. You were wondering, is MVS going to be active this week?
I drafted Adams in the first round last year, so him going down was fucking killer.
Why don't you talk about the receiver that they did have coming over to kind of help Adams?
Yeah, Funchess?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Funchess from Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
I
think he went to Michigan, in college, so he's getting back to that part of the country, the old the Midwest over there.
Yeah, I remember his rookie year, there was a lot of talk, who was that other guy they had in Carolina? Benjamin?
Yeah.
They had Benjamin, and then they drafted Funchess, and they're like, oh my god, we got 2 good receivers, and they kind of just never really did anything.
Neither of them did anything.
Yeah.
Funchess, man, if you watched him in college, he had those hands. And his quarterback wore like number 98. It didn't matter. He was catching them. Yeah, so that was exciting to watch. So Devontae Adams. I mean, if you listen to this podcast, you obviously know a little bit about football at least. Devontae Adams is definitely in the higher ranks up there when you're talking about wide receivers in the league currently. Another guy that might be catching some passes because Jimmy Graham's not there anymore is the tight end Mercedes Lewis.
Yeah, and they're thinking that he's going to step into that Jimmy Graham role,
Yeah, well, now would be the time. I don't know how many more seasons this dude's gonna be around. When I saw Mercedes Lewis, I was thinking, good lord, how long has this guy been around? But that's another
with the Jaguars like 10 years ago.
Yeah, he was there for a long time. He had his ups, had his downs. He's been around the block, so to speak. But I don't know any other tight ends that are going to be helping him out. So Mercedes Lewis, he might have.
I forgot his name. They got the other tight end there.
He might have, quite a bit on his plate as far as his assignments. He's going to have to be
Sternberger.
Oh, okay. So you got Mercedes Lewis, the old veteran, and Sternberger.
Mm-hmm. They drafted him pretty early.
Okay.
Because I think it might have been the 3rd round. Or they have 2 second-round picks. I can't remember. But yeah, they drafted him pretty early, so they got high hopes for him.
Okay. Moving on to the defense. First, let's talk about who won't be there. And this is really sad. And I'm not even a Packers fan.
It seemed like he was going to be a Packer for life.
Right.
He was like...
Blake Martinez?
Yeah.
The dude was a tackling machine.
He had like 200 tackles.
I don't have them written down right here, but just Google Blake Martinez tackles and just look over the last few seasons. His numbers are ridiculous.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Definitely led the team in tackles every season he was there, pretty sure. And now he's going to the New York Giants, where
he's help.
I'm personally a Dallas Cowboys fan. Hell or high water. I'm not a fair weather fan or anything, so take the good with the bad. It's gonna be tough going up against a guy like that on defense. Blake Martinez is everywhere on the field.
Dallas has got to find the quarterback.
I'm not really concerned about who the quarterback is, but I want to make sure that Blake Martinez is nowhere near anyone with the ball for the Cowboys.
Yeah, he's always finding the ball.
Yeah. But so who is there on defense?
Well, Zadarius Smith was probably the best free agent signing.
Yep.
In Packers history.
If the Packers,
that's surprising,
right?
When
your guy who led the team in tackles over the last few years just up and leaves, he's made an exit. You got a guy like Zadarius Smith already holding it down on defense. You need this dude to amp it up to 11. for sure.
That dude is fired up, ready to fucking play every game.
Yep.
He's coming off the edge, just like he's a fucking beast to watch.
Yeah, and that injury bug is out there. Hopefully Smith can avoid it, because I'll tell you what, when the dude's on the field, football's a better game for sure for everybody.
And they're trying to beef up that defense. They had some pieces they should have kept, like
I was gonna say, beefing it up. You don't cut the guy who brought all the beef.
They drafted a linebacker last year and this year, so
right.
See how those guys, but their cornerbacks and their safeties are stepping it up too. They drafted some cornerbacks last year that played shut down cornerback play.
Yeah.
So we'll see. And having Zadarius Smith is pretty much all you need on the field.
Yeah,
having a guy like that, getting to the quarterback is one of the main things.
So what is going to be your what part of the Green Bay Packers football experience are you looking forward to in 2020? What do you want to see?
I mean, Rodgers to Adams. I mean, that connection, just those two on the field, watching those two guys play, it's amazing to watch.
Yep.
Adams is, I mean, they've had receivers all the time, just like, from Greg Jennings. They had Nelson and Donald Driver, Cobb, all these guys. And then Adams just kind of steps up and just fills that role. And having Aaron Rodgers there, it's amazing to watch.
I've got a question for you, and this.
Let's see if I can answer it.
All right, it's just it's a simple one. Would you take a Super Bowl win for the Packers, but you have to lose to the Chicago Bears twice this year? You take it?
Yeah.
All right. He's a Packers fan.
Yeah,
the Super Bowl is the only thing that matters.
Super Bowl, winning the Super Bowl is the main goal.
A rivalry is a rivalry for a reason.
Playing the Bears,
you'll play them next year.
It's tough. I think you said 200 years. The record is like dead even. I think almost.
Yeah,
right?
200 matchups.
Yeah,
and yes, it's pretty close.
So they've had their ups and downs playing them too.
Yeah. So you heard it here, and that's true for everybody. I'm sure that anyone would take that.
Yeah.
Super Bowl championship. You never know when you're gonna get back to a Super Bowl.
Just look at Aaron Rodgers. He's got one ring.
And you play the Bears twice every year, including next year. So
yeah, fuck the Bears.
Yeah, exactly. Look at Aaron Rodgers. I was trying to rub it in and make a point saying, how many Super Bowls has Aaron Rodgers won? With all the money they've given him, with every free agent signing they've ever had, and everything that goes on there, all bringing in a head coach, changing this, changing that, whatever. He's only got the one Super Bowl win. But Super Bowls are hard to win. Don't ask Tom Brady, because he doesn't think that.
He's played in the championship game like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah. Rodgers knows, the championship games for sure.
Yeah,
what he wants another trophy, another Super Bowl ring, for sure. Anything else you want to talk about the Packers or anyone in the division?
Well, them drafting A.J. Dillon was kind of interesting. Having Aaron Jones and with his backup Jamal Williams, what are they going to do? And what I've been hearing is he's going to be like a goal line guy.
So is Williams still there?
Yeah, Williams is still there.
Right. They have bumped him down the depth chart though.
Yeah, I think Dillon's the number 2. And the guy.
So you're saying Dillon will be the goal line guy?
Yeah, because I guess he's like a bigger guy. So
okay, that's pretty cool.
Aaron Jones is not a big guy.
Yeah.
He's put him out there, have him run out the backfield, catch some passes.
Yeah.
Have the Dillon guy run right up the fucking middle if you need a yard or two.
Like a bulldozer.
Yeah.
Just a steamroller. Yeah. Boom. You see him come into the game. It doesn't even matter that you know where the ball is going to go. This guy's going to come right at you. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool. I'm looking forward to something like that too.
Yeah. I think it's going to be fun watching the Packers having Funchess, Lazard being the number 2, compliment to Adams with the running backs.
Yeah.
It's going to be... And Sternberger.
Yeah, something that interests me is the quarterback matchups in this division, because when they're all healthy, this is a good, nice little group. You got guys like Kirk Cousins, that is a free agent that came in and got that big contract. You got guys like Stafford, who have stayed there. They were drafted there and they have earned their huge contracts. Guys like Aaron Rodgers, that backed up Brett Favre for a few years before he got the chance, but everybody knew had he gone to any other team, the dude would have been starting. But they had a Hall of Famer taking snaps, so he can't really. And back then, Favre was on his Iron Man streak, hadn't missed a game ever, So you couldn't just,
you don't want to.
you couldn't just supplant a guy like Favre. Then you got the competition in Chicago, which is also, that's going to be a little micro story in the greater story of quarterbacks in the division.
Maybe we should do our own Hard Knocks and just do
yes. Yeah. Once camp start, I'm gonna be on there, trying to see if I can find a live feed, watch a little bit of the camp so I can see how Foles and Trubisky are doing. Yeah. Maybe we'll come on the podcast and do an episode about that. That would be pretty neat. Yeah. So it looks like, that's it. Before we wrap up, I just kind of want to bring up the Patrick Mahomes huge contract with all the incentives, with the guaranteed and the unguaranteed money, and the incentives for whatever. I'm sure there's incentives tied to playoff wins, playoff games, MVP wins, Super Bowl wins, all sorts of stuff like that. Probably marks like 5,000-yard passing seasons or whatever. But this dude could earn $500 million. And a guy like Mahomes, from the great state of Texas, he went to Texas Tech, and the Chiefs moved up to get their guy, to make sure that they got him. And at the time, I was kind of like, oh my gosh, Mahomes? Because I watch Big 12 football, and, I watch Texas Tech football as much as I have to. They always have what they call a system quarterback. And to see a guy come out of a system like that, because Texas Tech usually has, their quarterbacks drafted, it's just that they really don't fit in well in the NFL scheme, because a lot of times they're undersized, their arms aren't, as strong as other quarterbacks, but the system they run there at Texas Tech kind of allows for all that, because they got dudes running all sorts of routes and catching all sorts of crazy passes. Mahomes comes in and man, inks that deal after a Super Bowl win in his third season, after his second season, which was really his first full playing season. He won the league MVP.
That's crazy. 50 touchdowns.
So I don't.
First year playing.
Yeah. 50 touchdowns. That was nuts. First year playing. I think he played one game. Started one game.
Like week 17.
Week 17. In his rookie season, and then in his sophomore season, just torches the league. Puts on basically a clinic for anybody wanting to know, how the position of quarterback should be played these days. And then in the third season, he comes in, does basically the same thing, sits out a couple of games with an injury, but basically gets healthy enough to make the playoff run, gets into the Super Bowl, and does his thing.
It kind of, looking at last year, kind of reminds me of what Lamar Jackson's trending to.
One can only hope. Yeah.
Win the MVP. Maybe he comes back and goes to the Super Bowl, loses to the Packers.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe he'll get that next big contract.
Yeah,
if he gets more than Mahomes,
if you get the offer, man, you go ahead and sign your name on the dotted line, my friend, because that is something to hang your hat on.
Yeah, and most people are, that's all this week was talking about was just like, is it good for the team? Is it bad for the team? Is it good for Mahomes? Bad for Mahomes? And it's good for everybody.
It's good for everybody.
Chiefs got the quarterback. Mahomes got his money.
Yeah.
It's a win-win.
They're set. And it's a 10-year deal. Man.
And he's still under contract. So
with injury insurance, which that's a big thing, because if he was a baseball player, he would be cashing a check for $500 million. But this is football. Not all the money's guaranteed. The players are starting to, polish their chops, because they are negotiating these things. And credit to the agents, because man, seeing deals like this, it's good to see that the players that are actually putting in the work, it's actually paying off. So it's well deserved. Kudos to you, Patrick Mahomes. You did it. But that's half, not even half of it. You got to come out. He's got to win another Super Bowl, another MVP, or folks are gonna say, he kind of got his money and then. Didn't do too much, but I don't see that happening at all. And like you said, if this could be the new trend, and we see Lamar Jackson take the next step, man, that would be great. Other young quarterbacks, that need to step up. Let's see what.
I don't think we got a quarterback in this draft. Well, I guess Burrow.
Yeah.
We'll see how he does. He plays for Cincinnati, but.
Yeah, I think he's going to have a definite shot right out of the gates
he's got some weapons
do
there.
His thing.
He's got some weapons over there.
Yeah,
hopefully
last year
AJ Green comes back for him.
last year he had one of the greatest passing seasons. College, professional, whatever. This dude was on fire. He was throwing it to everybody. But yeah, Patrick Mahomes doing the thing. And so I guess we'll kind of wrap things up, guys. We're In the Grass podcast. I'm Steven with my little brother Mikey. If you want to tweet at us, follow us on Twitter. We're at In the Grass Pod. You can email us inthegrasspod@gmail.com. If you like watching us on YouTube, taking in the video that way, that's cool too. On YouTube, we just appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel. That way you see it right there in your subscriptions every time you post a new video. Hit the notification bell so you are notified from your device every time we post something new content. Leave a comment, thumbs up this video. Find us on Apple Pods, Spotify, Google Play, Overcast.
There's a couple different ones.
Pretty
much anywhere you can stream a podcast.
This podcast is hosted on Anchor FM, so you can even just download that app and listen to us straight there. Hit us up, man. Reach out to us if you want to be on the podcast. If you want to talk about a specific division, we're doing these division breakdowns. We're doing the NFC North this week. Not sure what we're doing next week, but if you want to shoot us an email, give us a suggestion. If you want to come on, we could do a video call or whatever and upload you to the podcast. So just doing a little sign off here. We appreciate you guys listening in and watching the video. See you later.
Take it easy.